From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Kent's Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Things getting pretty active, especially for the coast. Gusty winds, heavy rainfall. That will continue to be the case here into the early afternoon hours before this all continues to shift off to the east. We're looking out at Battery Point in the Crescent City area. Those waves are certainly getting a lot more choppy out there. Things are going to be getting more dangerous when it comes to these waves as well, which we'll get into here a little bit later. Of course, seeing some of that rain, of course, a lot of rain up in Crescent City. You can see it more clearly at the wet pavement here out at Elk Country north of Trinidad. You can see, of course, plenty of cloud cover out there. We'll continue that rain here, as I mentioned, into the early afternoon hours. However, we take you out to Redding, and of course the valley, and of course eastward it's dry, the clouds are moving in. We may begin to see a few sprinkles and light showers in advance of the main event, which will be later on this evening and tonight for the valley, and then of course in the eastern mountains tonight into tomorrow morning. We'll get into the timing of all that in just a bit. But here's what I'm tracking, several things actually. Number one, the heavy rain on the coast could lead to the potential for some flooding, mudslides, and debris flows. That's the main concern for Del Norte, Humboldt County, western Siskiyou County, and even though there is no flood watch for Trinity County, I'm tracking and watching Trinity County very closely for the potential of some of that localized flooding as well. Now, it's not just the rain that we're concerned about, but the winds. We've seen very gusty winds out there, and they will continue to be gusty here for many areas here through the afternoon and through this evening. Now, some areas with the highest peak gusts could be looking at the potential for some down trees, down power lines, and not to mention, of course, power outages as well. So that's something worth monitoring and tracking very closely. So as you can see here, here's the main band of rain. This is the atmospheric river that we're speaking of right now, and it is right over Del Norte and Humboldt counties, just making its way into western Siskiyou County. As of just shortly before the noon hour here, you can see it's not even quite made its way into Trinity County either. But rainfall totals, I will say this, I want to take these with a grain of salt. That's because couldn't quite find a lot of the data for National Weather Service rainfall totals. I know there's rain out there. So this is coming out of weather undergrounds from people's backyard weather stations. So the accuracy of these may not be 100%, but it should give us a basic idea of what we're looking at here. So here you can see in Eureka approximately an inch, give or take, depending on where you are in Eureka. Crescent City, about 1.5 inches. Now you head out towards East Crescent City, and now you're looking at over 2 inches of rain there. North Smith River, look at that, almost 2 inches of rain there as you start getting closer to the Oregon state line. The Klamath Fire Station, about 1 inch. Blue Lake, 0.61, and Shelter Cove, pretty impressive, at 1.66. Now, when we talk about the peak winds that we've seen, Neyland out at the airport, 55-mile-an-hour gusts. That's the peak. 35-mile-an-hour gust peak for Eureka. There you can see Crescent City about close to 40. Now, even in the valley, we've started to see those winds pick up as well. Chico close to 30, Oroville 21 miles per hour. The Weed Airport, this is where we're concerned about the Shasta Valley in central Siskiyou County. The peak gusts close to 50 miles per hour. They'll probably get even stronger here through the afternoon. And Alturas, you're looking at a peak gust so far of 30 miles per hour, but that also may be stronger later this afternoon and into the evening. I just wanted to show you this because with the rain in store for us, we're seeing these plumes of smoke coming from the fires, but all that smoke just gets demolished, and we're not going to really have any problems with smoke here today, and not to mention tomorrow either. So you can see the big swirling area of low pressure. We've got cold air getting wrapped up kind of within that low pressure system as well. That's the speckled clouds. This is what we typically talk about in the middle of winter with these cold storm systems, but this right here is all of that moisture coming on in. Now, the colder air isn't necessarily what we're going to be watching because yes, temperatures may drop a bit behind this, but it's really most of that colder air is going to stay up to our north. In the meantime, let's take a look at Futurecast. Here we are today at noon. Here's the heaviest rainfall where we saw the radar at the current hour, right? Now we're going to take you through the afternoon into about 4 p.m. You see, what's happening is this is all just shifting slowly to the east. So by mid-afternoon, late afternoon, we're now in Siskiyou County, Trinity County, to the south of that. And now Del Norte County, and not to mention most of Humboldt County, is on the back edge of that rain, and the worst is behind you for most of Del Norte and Humboldt counties. And we're just beginning at this point to maybe see some showers come into the north end of the valley around Redding. So I'd say around 3, 4 o'clock this afternoon, we may start to see some showers coming into the Redding area. But the bulk of the rain won't kind of kick in until 5, 6 o'clock, where it's especially in Redding and maybe even Red Bluff. Still looking at some decent rain, as you can see here, for Trinity County, central Siskiyou County, and many parts of northern Shasta County as well. But notice, still, even at 6 p.m. today, we're still dry for Modoc County and the eastern mountains as well. And notice too, this line of rain, even though it's pretty impressive in some areas, it's not as impressive as what we're seeing right now over Del Norte and Humboldt counties. So we're seeing this break up as it moves eastward. So by 9 o'clock tonight, yes, we're seeing the rain for pretty much everyone in the valley at this point, but see how unimpressive it is. Most of that heavier rainfall is going to be around Mount Shasta into the mountains into Siskiyou County. That's at 9 o'clock tonight. 9 o'clock tonight, still dry for Alturas, not to mention the eastern mountains, but then as we go into about midnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning, that will then move through the eastern mountains. But at that point, it's fairly insignificant, and any rain we do see is not going to amount to much. Most likely less than 1/10 of an inch of rainfall for most of us in the eastern mountains. But notice we're still seeing some activity even for the north coast, western Siskiyou County, but by noon and the afternoon tomorrow, it's pretty much gone. However, check this out. We have another disturbance that'll pass through Wednesday morning that'll bring a few scattered showers here for Del Norte, Humboldt, western Siskiyou County, and maybe even Trinity County as well, but those chances are slimmer. And then it's gone by Wednesday afternoon. All right, so how much rain can we expect? This is coming out of a forecast model that, it's going to do the best it can. So here's your overall projection. I'd say 1 to 3 inches once all is said and done for Del Norte and Humboldt counties. I think most of it will be in Del Norte County and in extreme western Siskiyou County. What you'll notice is you start heading eastward, you start seeing less and less rainfall until we're only talking about a few hundredths of an inch of rain out in the eastern mountains. Now, I think there's a chance we could see about 1/10 to maybe even close to 1/4 of an inch of rainfall once all is said and done for Redding, and then a little bit less as you start heading southward in the valley. So don't take these numbers to be exact, but what we can take from this is that the bulk of the rain, the heaviest rainfall, is right here. And then as you just progress eastward, you start seeing less and less rainfall out of this. Bottom line, this is a welcome sight. And especially with the fires in Northwest where we're seeing most of the rain, let me tell you, this is going to be a huge, huge help from the issues that we've been dealing with those fires. Now, with all of that said, there still is a flood watch through this evening for western Siskiyou, Modoc, and Humboldt counties. As I've mentioned over the last few days, Trinity County is not part of this flood watch, but is worth watching to see if we could see any flooding even in the Trinity County area, especially in central and western Siskiyou County. Okay, so let's take a look at the rest of the week. And you can see as we go through the rest of the week, we're just not seeing much happen. You can see maybe a few showers coming in Friday night, maybe a few showers coming in Saturday morning, but overall, the forecast models are all over the place with rain after Wednesday. So for now, I'm just going to keep things dry after Wednesday for everyone, and we'll keep a close eye as we go into, say, Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend. Of course, there you can see even going into Sunday, still looks pretty dry as well. But just a forecast model run before that, it was more aggressive with more rain and even some higher elevation snow. Now the winds, you can see there are advisories here and there across Northern California right now. But overall, I think everyone's going to see some gusty winds out there. So let's take a look at that. Here we are today at noon. We're beginning to see the winds pick up for the valley, but still not the strongest. And this is where we've seen and will see the biggest concern, and that's in central Siskiyou County, where we can see a lot of reds in there. That's 40 to even 50 miles per hour. Okay, so we saw some of those peak gusts, and they were pretty strong, especially out in this general area right here. Now, we'll notice, too, still pretty gusty even at the noon hour for the coast, but they're beginning to die down, especially as we take you through the afternoon hours. So here we are at 4 p.m. Now we're 20 to even 30 miles per hour for the valley. We're beginning to see the winds begin to pick up for Modoc County and in the eastern mountains, but see how they're dying down for Trinity County westward, even into Del Norte and Humboldt. Still a little breezy out there, but certainly not as windy as we've seen this morning. All right, now we're going to take you to about 8 o'clock tonight. Still breezy, borderline windy for the valley. Still pretty gusty in the eastern mountains. But then by the time we get into tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, the winds are much calmer across the board. Now we take a look at the fire weather alerts because, as I mentioned, it's not until tonight that the rain will hit Modoc County in the eastern mountains. So as a result of these gusty winds, and it's still very dry in the areas that haven't seen the rain yet, we've got high fire danger. And that's going to be until about 8 o'clock tonight. As I mentioned, after 8 o'clock tonight, the chances for rain begin to increase for these areas. But again, it just won't amount to much. Now, the wave heights are something we've got to watch very closely as well. Because now you can see here for this afternoon, 7 feet, 13 feet close to the coast, right? 15, 16, 17 feet as you start heading out to sea. Now, take a look at Tuesday. Even though the atmospheric river will be gone by then, we're not going to see a whole lot of relief from those wave heights. And as a result, we do have a high surf advisory for the immediate coast for all of the north coast regions on the coastal areas. This is from 2 a.m. until 11 a.m. tomorrow. So this is when we expect it to be the most dangerous along the coast. Now, we're talking about large breaking waves of 19 to 21 feet. That's pretty impressive. And then we also have dangerous surfing and local beach erosion. So I would say that tomorrow morning, and really even tomorrow in general, not a good idea to be hanging out along the beach there. Or, maybe if you stand back and watch, but I wouldn't get in the water. I mean, it's just going to be way too dangerous out there. All right, so here's your marine forecast. This is what it looks like here for today. South winds at 10 to 20 knots. Your waves from the southwest at 11 feet at 10 seconds. And from the west at 6 feet at 13 seconds. There's a small correct advisory here for today. All right, so let's take a look at our forecast for today. And you can see here, of course, the rain, the thunderstorms continue even into the early afternoon hours. As we progress through the afternoon to the evening, the valley will get in on the action. And then eventually tonight, Modoc County in the eastern mountains, we'll start to see some of that rain as well. And cool, too. We're only reaching highs in the mid-60s, mid-70s, that is, for the valley. All right, so here's your 7-day outlook. There's the rain from Mount Shasta City. We could see some stray showers tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow morning, that is, in particular, for Shasta County. But Wednesday should be dry. Excuse me, that's Siskiyou County I'm talking about here. And then, of course, the rest of the week, for now, I'm keeping it dry. El Turris, your rain is coming in later this evening, tonight. Same thing for Susanville, but dry for Tuesday, Wednesday, and most likely through the rest of this week. Taking a look at the valley. Redding, Red Bluff, your chances will pick up this late afternoon, early evening. Chico, it's really not until this evening and tonight that you'll see the rain. That's why I've got you dry today. And then, of course, as we take it through the rest of the week and into the weekend, it's dry for the valley as well. Here's a look at your north coast forecast. Okay, so the coast, showers and thunderstorms, a very good possibility, even for some of the inland areas. Can't rule out a thunderstorm, can't rule out some lightning strikes. And then for tomorrow, maybe some stray showers, and then mainly for the coast and even partially some of the inland areas, we could see some activity here with that weak system coming through on Wednesday, but I'm keeping Weaverville dry for now and then dry for the rest of the week and into the weekend. So things getting very interesting. Of course, we'll have more in this evening's forecast that will be available by 6 o'clock tonight. Be sure to check out the latest forecast at that point.